I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you all. My name is Roman Delino. I'm an account executive here at Qvinci Software, and I'll be your host today. Before we get started, I would like to point out that you're welcome to use the chat feature down on the bottom left to ask questions at any point during the presentation. I actually have several of my colleagues available to answer those questions, and also I'll be answering them during our Q&A session as well, kind of for the benefit of everyone. So today we're going to be discussing Qvinci for Accountants, increasing client engagement. Essentially just some overall suggestions based on the experience we've had within the small business realm as to how you may be able to increase client engagement within your practice and possibly utilize Qvinci as a tool to really help you achieve that goal. We always like to start off with a selected group of clients because we feel like this illustrates really the universal value that Qvinci presents from an industry perspective. I mean, you can see from this list we've got from quick serve restaurants to fitness organizations, all the way to not-for-profits, both in the religious, non-religious sect, to automotive businesses. So the idea is what we hope to deliver is something that anyone and everyone should be able to make use of, and that is timely, actionable information. So our agenda today will be running over an overview of Qvinci, discussing the evolution of accounting, increasing client engagement, how to grow your business once you've achieved that objective, additional benefits that can be associated with Qvinci, Qvinci security and support, and then run a Q&A session. So open the floor up. So if anybody has any specific questions they want, we can address them during the webinar. So let's dive right in. So the evolution of accounting. The accounting landscape, as it stands right now, is very rapidly changing. To quote Benjamin Franklin, when you're finished changing, you're finished. The idea here is this. There's been a constant discussion of late that is around proactive versus reactive accounting, and really kind of what the future holds for the various kind of thought processes here. And the thought leaders within the accounting field have kind of come to a conclusion that the life of the reactive accountant is slowly going to be dwindling over the next 10 years. To thrive in accounting today, you really need to increase client engagement. The ways you accomplish these things is by being proactive. Moving to a value-based pricing system that's easy for your clients to understand and allows you to be more agile from a practice perspective, and deliver a product that when it's all said and done, it checks all the boxes the client needs in a very understandable format. And then, of course, embracing technology and social media to help drive your business. We're going to go over these points in a little bit more detail. As far as increasing client engagement, there are many different ways to increase client engagement. The first and foremost in our mind is to be proactive. The days of sitting back and waiting for the phone to ring are over. What we mean by this statement is in the past there was a tendency for the accountant to hang back, wait for an issue to develop, have that issue brought to them by their client, and then address that issue. In today's world, with a lot of the tools that are being made available to accountants, the general consensus is that it makes more sense to really leverage that position of trust. And you know what, you've been coming to me for years, or you're just coming to me looking for my financial expertise. Why wouldn't I use that financial expertise to really, we jokingly say to become your client's BFF or best financial friend. You're most likely the most astute financial mind that they deal with. And so utilize that experience to really see things from a projection standpoint versus a historical standpoint, and help them run their business more efficiently from an operational and a financial perspective based on the rules that you know to be true. Value-based pricing. value-based pricing has really come into the conversation in a large way over the last several years. We deal with many clients that operate under this model, and the feedback that we've gotten from our mutual clients is that what they like about this model is that they pay for the value as opposed to the time that it takes for someone to accomplish the end goal. So it's very clear, it's very understandable. They don't have to worry about if they have a quick question for their accountant or need some quick advice, picking up the phone, calling that person, and having you as their trusted advisor answer that question and not follow up with a bill for every 6 minutes of time. The idea is it really helps encourage the relationship. It makes you very available to them. But as an aside to that, a lot of times they're willing to pay a fairly reasonable price to have you available in that regard, to really act as an advisor to their business. When it all boils down, what clients care about are results. If I'm running a business and the feedback that we get from our clients in the small business space is that when it all boils down, when they approach their accountant, the information that they want is either they want their problem solved or they want someone who can see their problem before it occurs and possibly give them some advice as it relates to cash flow, as it relates to possibly looking at different indicators within their business that they need to make a change before it comes to possible crash time and they realize that they're actually behind the 8 ball. The last big piece to value-based pricing, and one of the biggest reasons why accounting as a field is tending to move this direction, is that there are tools available out there that are driving efficiency within the accounting world, whether it's payroll tools, whether it's reporting tools like Qvinci. These are all things that take jobs that once took hours to put together, or projects that took hours to put together, and turn it into seconds. And so obviously you're still delivering the same value to your client, but you don't necessarily want to bill for seconds, So the idea here is if you deliver them a pricing model based on the value that they're delivering to you, or that you're delivering to them rather, you have the ability to obviously assign monetization to that value and possibly use that greater efficiency to either grow your practice and go after new clients, or possibly look at additional services or lines of revenue that you can provide to your existing client base, growing your portfolio and increasing your standing to that client and stickiness with that client every single day. Embrace technology. Embracing technology really means it means folks like yourself who attend events like what we have today, going out, finding the new solutions, understanding how those solutions can aid you and aid your client in running your businesses better, then leveraging those solutions to really strengthen that position as a trusted advisor. We've got clients as far as building a social media presence. One specific accountant that I work with comes to mind, and this gentleman on a weekly basis ensures that through LinkedIn and through Facebook, he's putting content out there that people associate with him. He may not be writing a blog, but he's finding information that more than one potential client or current client can use, and making sure that he gets that information and the word out. And the beauty there is it really comes at very little cost to him and with minimal time expenditure, but it helps grow his overall social media presence, and it could lend him opportunities down the road as it relates to word-of-mouth referrals. So the last piece is using Qvinci's cutting-edge technology to provide real-time answers. The whole idea here is to become indispensable to your existing clients and help you attract new ones. One thing, and we speak regularly with many different accountants and pro-advisors, and an interesting point came up the other day, and one of the pro-advisors we were speaking with, she made mention of, as a general rule, she's never thought to approach businesses like McDonald's or like various other franchise systems, because there was always this perception that there were these large organized businesses that really didn't have the need for someone from a small business advisor type role. And the reality is Qvinci's experience is actually quite a bit different than that. In fact, we find that there are huge holes in some of these multi-location, multi-entity businesses that we deal with, as the way they're structured, while they may actually be huge enterprises, a lot of times they're huge enterprises that consist of multiple little kingdoms, and each kingdom really needs the assistance of somebody from a financial professional's perspective to really help them organize, to help them orchestrate, and help them accomplish their goals, because there really isn't a ton of top-down leadership. So growing your business, how do you use these general rules or ideas to grow your business? You use the social media and really just kind of a change in thought processes to initiate contact with your clients, or do something to make them contact you. I refer back to the social media piece. The feedback that I've gotten from the gentleman that I was referencing earlier is that he actually gets more potential clients or prospective clients from his LinkedIn posts than he actually does from his classic advertising campaigns. We always recommend that you interview your clients to get an understanding of kind of what their business is, what their goals are, and then help them plot out a path to increase profitability, because once again, in the small business world, the accountant is usually the absolute best resource a business owner will have in that regard. And then lastly, demonstrate what you're going to be able to get them and where they want to go. So we want to illustrate, as far as next steps, we're going to set up reporting structures that make sense for your clients. Qvinci is going to help you make recommendations for implementing best practices and help you leverage our technology to demonstrate and track results in an accessible, understandable format. I'm going to kick over to our solution real quick and kind of give you a quick rundown of what it looks like today and what it's capable of. Now, I would recommend, if anybody wants to deep dive, we're always available and happy to do private demonstrations of this as well, because everybody's clients and practices are slightly different, and you may have specific needs. But on the high level, if you want to bear with me 1 second while I switch over to it. What we're looking at here is the Qvinci Dashboard. A couple key things to call out here. Qvinci was originally created as a consolidation tool, but it has since really become kind of a multi-client financial management tool. What we have done is provided you with the ability to sync with unlike accounting files, and access all of that information in one place. In the example that I have up right now, we're actually looking at a multi-location or multi-entity franchise business. Naming can be whatever it is that you would choose. In fact, if you look at it this way, we've got almost 30 locations here. Each one of them could be a different QuickBooks version. You could be looking at a handful of QuickBooks desktops, some of them QuickBooks Online. Some of them could actually be classes within a QuickBooks file, and the rest of them could be zero. The idea here is we offer you a lot of flexibility as it relates to consolidation and how that information is put together in a dashboard format. Is something that really is very powerful is the ability to provide an end user through our unlimited logins access to this information and incorporate that into your portfolio as a service that you provide to your clients. Imagine if this was XYZ accounting firm, which is an opportunity that we offer through our partnership program, where we can brand Qvinci for you so that your clients associate this product with your practice, and therefore any value that comes with it automatically comes to you as well. As far as the dashboard's concerned, we're looking initially at a consolidation of all of the locations or entities that we have here, but you can very easily click into an individual one. This is enormous value that you can apply to a multi-user or multi-unit or multi-entity client, because this type of information is very difficult to really present with any type of expediency or with any type of timely fashion because of the nature of consolidating unlike accounts. Taking it a step further, you can very easily through our client selector move from client to client, so that if you're doing end of year, quarterly compilations, end of year reporting, or just trying to be that trusted advisor to your client and do a quick business review of each one of your clients, you're not going to have to open each individual file and possibly be changing between different versions of QuickBooks. You simply sync to their entity, whether it's a file or a class, and add them as a client within your client list, and you can very simply, with the click of a button, move from client to client. Now, they don't have visibility to each other. They only have visibility to what they contribute. But since you have unlimited user access, you have access, they have access. It's all read-only, so that nobody can go in and manipulate a file and possibly mess something up or make life more difficult, but they're receiving the information that they need in a timely fashion. Being that we sync most solutions on a daily, if not multiple times a basis, you know that the information that you're looking at is up to date as well. So as far as the reporting aspect, so past the high-level dashboards, you have a lot of granularity that can be achieved through Qvinci as well. We have business properties that are set by you or your client down the left side, so think of them as logical groups that you would use to carve out segments of their entities. If we're talking about a multi-user or multi-unit, we'll say LLC entity, and they break everything off by region, think retail stores. It makes it very easy to say, you know what, give me the reporting for the North region. Let's do a profit and loss quarterly for the last 4 fiscal quarters. We run that report, and what we present you with is a consolidation of those 10 locations consisting of the as I'm sure most of you are well-versed in QuickBooks and the various other accounting softwares on the market, this can be a very difficult report to generate. And in making it a couple of clicks of a button for you, we make it very easy for you to take a look at this value-based model, but also possibly attack new clients that you never would have thought of in the past. I've gotten feedback in many instances that I would love to have multi-location entities, but the reality is the consolidation piece that comes into play when dealing with them is too time-consuming for it to be cost-effective to me. Well, the beauty here is it's extremely quick. Our pricing is very reasonable, and you can also associate this value to your practice and have your clients receive access to what we're presenting as well. So moving back over, the additional benefits that you receive through Qvinci and through utilizing this proactive model is we allow you the ability to automatically sync on a daily basis with your client's entities. You have unlimited logins. So if you've got 50 users at a single location entity that really should and would like to have access to this information, so that everybody's singing off the same sheet of music, if you will, then you have the ability to do so. And conversely, if it's a multi-location or multi-entity business and you have a manager over a couple of divisions that really needs access to those divisions, but not to the remaining divisions, it's very simple to assign at a permission level the ability to view specific information. The idea here is to save time, to make you more efficient and thusly making your clients more efficient because they receive their data in a timely fashion, and you're not having to compile an email reports. You simply give them access to your Qvinci reporting portal, and you're off and running. We allow for fraud prevention, once again saving time, adding efficiencies. Whenever we sync a file, we sync 36 months worth of data each time. The idea here being is if something happens to be going on in past transactions, it will be tracked, it will be notated, and we'll point you right at it. And so if in fact there is a problem with it, you know where the problem exists and how to fix it. Benchmarking, trending, and ranking. I mean, benchmarking is it's really becoming a norm. People want to understand how they compare against the environment, and specifically other entities within their industry. With Qvinci's benchmarking capabilities, we can allow individual locations within a Qvinci company to compare themselves against the other locations and not see the other location's information. And then, of course, the other piece is multi-file type consolidation. Imagine you wanted to approach a client that was in the investment business, and they had 10 hotels, 2 restaurants, and an automotive shop. More often than not, they're going to have differing needs as it relates to their accounting, and probably going to be on different software solutions. The beauty of Qvinci is as long as it's QuickBooks Zero, MYOB, or they can actually use an Excel syncing method, we can get their information in, standardize it so that you can turn it into something actionable that you can then take to your client and consult on. Last piece to call out is security. Qvinci takes security in a very serious manner. Our cloud is actually hosted with Amazon Web Services, which is currently being used by both Intuit, the Department, and the Department of Defense. AWS is one of the most secure cloud hosting services in the world. They carry SOC 1, 2, and 3 compliance certificates. They're HIPAA compliant, FIPS, DoD, and even have PCI and OPAL compliance as well. We have strict personnel security policies that really handle how your data is viewed. In fact, we only allow viewership of any individual's data if there is a support ticket in place where you are requesting, and we need to step in and help walk you through that process. Some of the other pieces that come part and parcel with Qvinci is our support. We give you live chat available Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. We offer resources and support as far as a Qvinci knowledge base, email support, how-to videos, and general sync application interaction. We offer much more information on our webpage, and would also say that we've got folks like myself that are here to help as well. So anytime there are questions, we'd welcome you to give us a call or reach out to us directly. The last piece that I think is salient to bring up here is Qvinci has a partnership program, and this partnership program it allows you as an accountant to really build a relationship with Qvinci, present the value that Qvinci is delivering to your clients as your own value, and be able to roll a discount over to your client, and demonstrate how this application is impacting their business. We've actually moved through this fairly quickly today, and so I do want to open the floor for questions, and also want to bring your attention to our website, the email address for partners, because when we think of an accountant, we think of you as partners, because this is something we would be working together to achieve the goal of servicing your client in is responsible, timely, and actionable way as possible. So I'm going to pause for questions. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to feed them through chat. I'm also happy to bounce back to our solution if needed, and give you an illustration of what the answer might be. Yeah, just received a question. What is Qvinci's history? Where are we from? So on and so forth. So the high points of Qvinci. Qvinci is actually a company that's at this point existed for approximately 8 years, where we carry a strong partnership with the Intuit franchise program, and actually hold a patent as it relates to dynamic mapping to a standard chart of accounts and being able to automatically sync and associate multiple unlike accounting files. We originally started to satisfy a need within the franchise community, and have since expanded to many different industries as it was related by our selected clients. Before, we work with investment companies, to banks, to not-for-profits, to religious not-for-profits. And so what we found is, in our growth and overall experiences is that everyone needs actionable, timely reporting, and reporting is becoming more and more key in the operation of day-to-day business across the board. And Jennifer, I see your question, and no, we actually will send out the slides to all attendees. And Deborah, I see your question as it relates to the cost for the unlimited users, and is it a monthly subscription? Yes, Qvinci operates being a cloud-based solution. We run on a monthly subscription, so our monthly pricing for retail is $14.95 per entity per month, or $149.97 per year per entity. Now, taking it a step further than that, say you decide to partner with Qvinci, and we have what we term as a reseller program, but it presents a little bit more like a partnership or affiliate program. There is an opportunity there for accountants, pro advisors, and financial professionals to join us in partnership. We would then brand Qvinci for your business, offer you your own demo account, and give you a 30% discount on the monthly cost of Qvinci that you then either relay to your clients or possibly absorb as a cost of doing business, just as a manner to help grow your client base or add additional value to your current clients. Cynthia Moore, I see your question in regards to, and thank you for commenting on the product. We're very proud of it and glad you see the value. And as far as expanding to any SQL-based applications, the current plan and what we currently sync with is QuickBooks Desktop all the way back to 2009, whether it's hosted or just on a standard client PC. We automatically sync with QuickBooks Online, Xero, MYOB, and then afford you the ability to perform an Excel sync. We have currently an open API that allows users to access the Qvinci database and effectively extract data to use within their own operating system or CRM or user interface. We do have plans and are actually currently working on the ability to provide access to external applications through that API, essentially allow you to push financial data at us through that API. So that would encompass your SQL-based platforms. In terms of roadmap on that, we do not currently have a date of completion or expected completion, but the best guesses are within 2 quarters, possibly 3 if we run into any roadblocks. So, and in addition to this, and my colleague Rob brought this up, if anybody would like to do a deeper dive, please do not hesitate to email the sales at Qvinci address. And as far as myself or my team, we'll be happy to reach out to you and schedule a really detailed webinar around specific use cases and address specific concerns. We did have another question roll in as to how syncing by class works. I'm going to kick back over to the solution real quick and kind of to give you a little bit better idea. Absolutely, Michael. I see your question. Bear with me for 1 second. I'm going to kick back over to the application and illustrate this to you. So a couple key things to call out. Whenever we sync data by class, the information comes over at the same tier. What I mean by that, and one of the examples that I deal with regularly, I've got a client that has one QuickBooks Online file with 100 locations within it. Keep in mind, we can sync locations or classes within QuickBooks Online. If we're syncing QuickBooks Desktop, we sync classes. But the idea is this. If we look back at this example, say this was all one file, and every single one of our entities here consisted of a class or a division or a location. The way this works is you would grant access to the file and then create a Qvinci location, a naming of your choosing, that syncs to each class. And as long as all data, so imagine file level and then one tier below it are all of your classes, as long as your data resides within those classes, then we will sync that information, bring it into Qvinci, and really give you a very powerful tool that would allow you to slice and dice that data at will. What brought this particular client to me was she had 100 different locations and needed the ability to very quickly say, okay, show me what my Northwest locations are doing. Let me benchmark my classes against each other. She needed that ability to segregate on the fly, and also wanted to be able to afford that ability to her executives. She was actually a controller. Afford that ability to her executives with an easy-to-use interface so that she wasn't getting called at midnight every night being asked to run a specific report. And so if we imagine each one of these entities as a class, look at it this way. What if I wanted to run the consolidation of a group of my classes? So once again, we'll use regions just for argument's sake. A group of my classes as it relates to a P&L. And let's do by month for last calendar year or whatever, this calendar year. It's that simple. It takes a matter of 4 or 5 clicks to run, and it's very easy to change the frequency. Unlike what you have in most accounting tools today, yeah, sure, you can run this report by going through and selecting each one and generating a total for each month. But the idea here is you save yourself time, but on top of that, you give this to your clients, and you say, you know what, here's your access to Qvinci, and this is a high-level review of how to use the solution, and you make it to where they can consume it on their own if they want to. Okay? And Jim, in regards to your question, sir, yes, the cost is on a per entity basis. So an entity can be defined as a class or a file. Keep in mind that, and while when we're talking classes on a per file basis, the cost can go up dramatically. But in terms of the work and the overall value being presented, it's uniform whether we're talking classes or files. And what I mean by that, let's take it a step further. And the one that I've ran into in the investment field frequently are, let's say, a client goes through a merger and acquisition. They merge with a different business that, for instance, handles brokerage, has a slightly different accounting structure, but they still need to understand on a by class basis what their consolidation looks like. That client was more than happy. In fact, she laughed when we told her the price on a per class basis, because she was spending on average 4 or 5 days a month just to put together her monthly reporting, and she only had 2 files. But she had 30 classes in each file and needed to be able to put them together on a division or class basis, which it has as most of you know, have a lot of challenges. And so as it relates to the value there, the overall value is essentially the same whether it's class or file. Even in regards to the price for unlimited number of locations, not currently. I will say this: if we were looking at, as a for instance, when we get over 100 locations, there is an alternative option that's available. That's what we describe as an enterprise service agreement that will typically involve a minimum volume or expected volume. Will usually involve a longer than year commitment. Because let's be honest, if you're dealing with a client that has 500 locations, that's a substantial piece of work to implement from a general rollout perspective, and thusly it's reasonable to assume that they would want to commit to a longer term. With that in mind, there is a price reduction that comes associated with that as well. Do we have any other questions at this point? Michael, to answer your question, yes, that could be the case. Now, think of it as an entity. There's a tendency to say location, but it could very well be a client. Now, there will be instances where you may have a client that needs consolidation. Like, let's think, you have a client, but that client has 4 businesses that need to be put together. That would actually, we're not thinking in terms of clients then, we're thinking in terms of entities. So that's really the way you want to take it. Absolutely. Do we have any other questions? All right. Well, what I'm going to do is we will go ahead and leave the window open for chat. So if any questions come to you in the next 10 minutes or so, please do not hesitate to push those over to chat. But in closing, what I would like to say is this: we have a very well-versed team here, and would be glad to engage with each and every one of you individually, address any deep dive questions that you have, do a detailed run through of the solution, give you an idea of where we are now, exactly how we work and where we are going, and how you can use us to really to better your business overall. We welcome that interaction and hope to hear all of you. In addition to that, we will be emailing out copies of not only the slide but the presentation recording as well, and hope to hear from each and every one of you soon. Have a great day, and once again, proactive, proactive, proactive.